Podcast, but we haven't figured out a real name yet. But as of current, it's the USSK, shortened to USK. This means like American Korean point of view in Vietnamese news. I'm Sean Pham, and this.
That is my name, yeah.
Okay, that's his name then. Okay, we'll go with that. Okay,
With an
uh,
E.
Huey, right? Okay, Huey or
That's
something.
the only way I can get that bitch Siri to pronounce my name correctly on my phone when I get it like 5 years ago. So it's stuck with me. So what's your name? I have to add an E in so she can pronounce my name. So that's where it
Oh,
is.
this is a practical thing.
Yep.
Interesting.
And as long as you don't know my last name, you can't really stalk me on Instagram. So I'm fine with it. And
So
by the way, I know I mentioned this before, but I feel like Ben Affleck behind your back is kind of distracting a little bit.
he's a handsome guy.
Anyway, so I'm sure you figure out a good name eventually, but for now, we'll stick with that.
We'll stick with that. Okay, I guess we'll get straight into the docket today. We'll follow up on the news from the first episode, which is related to the international school. So if you didn't catch us on the first episode, the update now from the American International School that it will close earlier than normal, and more people have resigned or quit, and now again the owner is also forbidden from leaving the country over issues of, I guess, tax evasion, allegedly. So the new thing is that, yeah, now they basically closed, and a lot of people, I think, a lot of people are saying they should just liquidate and just sell everything to make the parents whole again. I think that's what's fair. But what's your 2 cents on this?
Okay. So based on the article that we were reading this morning, I don't think there's any new information added. Honestly, the only thing they added is to write the headline that the school is going to be closed in 10 days, April, at the end of April, so at the end of this month, right? And I don't know how much would that like logistically affect the student themselves, like a month and a half of extra classes. I don't know how much they lost in terms of like studying, but let's assume that is substantial because that's technically like a third of the semester. So that's the first loss for the student. And obviously, the second loss is for the parents, which they pay a lot of money for and contributed after that also. And now they don't get to even finish the school year. And the next year plan is not even announced yet, which is, I don't think is likely to be announced for a plan for next year anyway. I think the situation is kind of dire the way that it stands. And then other than that, I don't think there's any new information really. But they do really bring home to the very important point at the end one more time is that the head of the school is nowhere to be found. And by the way, I didn't know this, but like the person that was named in the article is not the head of the school, it's the head of the council of the school. So she is not actually the person who are the legal representative of the school as a business. That was the person who are forbidden to leave the country due to personal tax income issue. But the real owner, the school, the real head is refused to be named. It's mentioned in the middle of the article. They just said that, which means the newspaper has access to their name. It was implied, but they cannot share it legally. So it has all the red flag. Yeah. So the newspaper has the access to the person's identity, but they cannot share it for legal reason. But when's the last time that legal reason prohibited them from sharing that person's name? But like the story has all the red flag of a business not going well elsewhere, and then they just sacrifice this school in order to pay for somewhere else where they lack the money. And like at this point, we can say with pretty high certainty that the school will not be coming back for next year. Unlikely. I hope not, but unlikely. Other than that, I don't think they're adding new information to this article. If there are other international school out there reading about this, which they probably do, they definitely do know about this. They probably trying to what's the word? Clause a post trying to post a student on the parent to the school with like a discount price or something like that. Hopefully the parents are made whole, but other than that,
like draw them in, that's the word, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea what's the word for that situation. I don't think I've ever had to describe a situation before. But yeah, basically the same situation. No information was added other than that, other than the school is going to be closed in the next week or so. And hats off to the teachers who are hanging around until April 26th, the last day of April. But otherwise, for the one who quit, I fully understand they haven't been paid for a long time. So of course. So what do you think? Other than that,
Right. So the reason why I think in the article it mentions that they're closing on that specific date is for the mere fact that they met the requirement from this entity. What was this thing? It's called the International. I can't even.
IPO.
Baccalaureate program. Right.
Baccalaureate organization, IBO. Yeah.
IBO. I've never even heard of this organization, but I guess that's the minimum this date that the kids would have to be in school to finish their required work. And I guess that's why they're ending it on April 26th. But the other thing that I'd like to mention was that in here, they mentioned the number of teachers who resigned. I mean, and also the number of teachers that continue to operate and to continue to doing the responsibility. And the number is quite asymmetric. The number of Vietnamese teachers that are still doing their duty is a lot higher than the number of foreign teachers.
Were you surprised by that?
Oh no, not
So this,
I mean,
yeah, neither was I.
right. So it's I mean it's very clear, you know, like who has an investment, who has responsibility, duty, accountability to educate the next generation of Vietnamese students. And of course, the people that would care are the people who are from here. I wouldn't consider this to be a blanket statement for all teachers, for our foreign teachers, but they're all kind of like mercenaries, kind of, you know. You come here.
Most of what?
Mercenaries. So mercenaries is a term
I
for.
mean, they are, yeah. Go ahead.
Right, yeah. So you didn't know mercenaries is another term for soldiers who are paid privately. And usually, if you look at or you study military history, the reason why generals and commanders don't like to pay absorbent pay to soldiers is because their loyalty would not be aligned with the country or the unit. And so the foreign teachers, you know, some of them are good, some of them are not, and some of them are like mercenaries. They come through, they want to cash in and get that honeypot for a few years, and then they leave without any real responsibility to the country, to the kids, you know. There's no paper trail. Nobody knows what they did here from their home country. And so they're almost scot-free. They have no accountability. And that's why the numbers show the asymmetry of teachers who are willing to basically work for free, how it's majority of them are Vietnamese.
And just to be clear, this is not a blanket statement. Not everybody's like that, obviously. But we're just talking about the it's just like basic human incentive in all of us. Like I'm pretty sure if a Vietnamese woman or guy go to, let's say, Thailand to teach their a bunch of Thai kids, he or she wouldn't have the same level of responsibility teaching Vietnamese kids. So it's universal when you are in a missionary situation. So I do agree. And but it just and also just to be clear, I'm not giving any foreign teacher any hard time for quitting or submitting resignation. Obviously, you work for a paycheck, right? So you don't work for free. So they fail to pay you time and time again. So obviously, you have the right to do that, which I don't have a problem with. At the end of the day, the only victim are the parents and the student, and the person who has fault is the school itself, not the teacher who quit or anything like that. It's just an unfortunate situation, and I hope for the best. But honestly, the best move for the parents right now is to find a new school who will take their kids at a discounted price. Upon hearing the news, which they definitely hearing of the news, is going to be everywhere among the educational institution in Vietnam, particularly. And I don't know how many schools like this are there with the same level of scale. But this one seems to be like among the top 5 or something like that. It's a big one. So the fall of this one is going to be making rumble along the educational scene. So I can't wait to hear 3 months from now that that the school is officially closed and the head are arrested for tax evasion or for fraud or something like that. Wouldn't be surprised, but I hope not.
Right. So just last point about Vietnamese and versus foreign teachers. Vietnamese teacher salary is low, like tiny. And I have a friend who works in Hanoi. She told me in 2016 that her salary is in the single digit million, which is not even
Single digit
million. So under 10 million.
That is very unfortunate.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
Yeah.
And she's young too, but so and you compare that to a international school teacher, which is probably minimum 50 million and higher, basically doing the same work. If anything, the Vietnamese teachers probably have to do more work. But it just shows you the dedication that you have, like innately teachers of the local and domestic world, they care more about the country and the kids a little bit more, and they're willing to sacrifice. But I think this will be a good off ramp to the next topic, which is about kids as well, about the young generations.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Right. So this next
Kind
of this next article is about the workforce, Gen Z labor. They have some kind of aversion to working in, labor or with their hands. And you can tell the audience a little bit more about this.
All right. First, I would like to point out that calling Gen Z like the next generation is kind of a stretch. They are the current generation. The next generation is the generation that are in school right now. They are the current generation. So I think the official, yeah, they are currently working. They are the current generation already. So their time is now, not like they're not the future anymore. They are now. And so I think the official definition is that Gen Z is anybody who were born between 97 and 2005. And they're all in the workforce right now. They're not young anymore. Okay, and the point of the article is not really about the fact. It's not in the headline. It's in the fine print. The headline is about a bunch of the Gen Z generation are having is very reluctant accepting a job in the industrial sector. Anything a little bit more not necessarily laborious, but something more industrial, meaning like a very strict work shift, strict time, less
Factory work,
flexibility. Yeah, and less quote unquote flashy. In general, yeah.
blue collar
So
work as opposed to white collar.
not even that.
No.
So it's a long article, but down they mentioned that even other blue collar job are not having the same issue recruiting Gen Z. So in the service industry or in the food industry, they're doing just fine. So if you're hiring for a hotel receptionist or like a food server or even a cook, or just standing at the support desk at like a resort or restaurant somewhere, it's just fine. It's still blue collar, but they don't hate that. However, they don't enjoy the industrial sector, no matter the compensation. I mean, not no matter, but like it's quite less attractive. Apparently, the reason that was stated, both from the employer and the employee, is that they are asking for a lot more employee benefit, like more flexible hour, more of a work-life balance, more benefit like longer lunch break or happy hour or like company sponsored trip for more frequently, more relaxed dress code, and more flexible work hours. And which is not the signature properties of most industrial sector job, which I understand why also. And the reason I want to bring up this article is not really about the fact that Gen Z are refusing or not wanting to work in the industrial sector. It's not about that. It's about the shift in the work culture in the past 10 to 15 years. It's amazing. And when I start putting myself out in the job market around 2014, 15, around that time, the conversation you have with an adult or with a mentor or with like a potential employer about how to perform well or how to do well, how to advance in your career is very different from the conversation that you will have now with the quote unquote Zoomers. I hate the term Zoomer, by the way, but yeah, just let's say that for short. And let's say 10 years ago, Zoomer means is Gen Z. Yeah. In case you don't know. And so let's say 10 years ago, the number one advice that people would give you is that, oh, you have to work hard, you have to exceed your expectation or responsibility. If they ask for 100%, you contribute 110%. You go in, and that's how you advance, and that's how you get a. Is that necessarily a bad advice? No, I think it might be a good advice for a lot of people. But let's say after 10 years, 15 years, what has changed? I think a lot of people has realized that that your employer don't really see you more than a transactional relationship of service for a paycheck. It will be very transactional. And personally, at this point, I encourage all employees from all walks of life, from all generations, to treat it no more than a transactional relationship between your service and a paycheck, nothing more. Don't care about loyalty, don't care about any of that, because I guarantee they will not care about you the same way that they're asking you to care about them at all. Trust me. And they'll always perpetuate, they're always putting out propaganda about, oh, you have to work harder than you are asked to. You have to give them long notice. We're a family. And by the way, if you go in the company and during an interview, in any interview, they mention that, oh, we're a family here, run. Okay. It's a red flag when they say we're a family, run. If they're actually a family, they wouldn't have to mention it ever. If they mention it, it's a mind control tactic to make you feel more responsible, to make you more attached to the company than you should be. If you are going to quit, they expect you to give them a 1 month notice and all that. But if they're going to fire you, they give you like 1 day. So it's not the same. So fast forward 2024. and Zoomer are asking for more benefit, asking for more flexible working hours, asking for this and that. Now, is it fair? Everything is fair when it comes to a transactional relationship. So you want my service, and I have the right to ask. You don't have to agree, but as a employee, you are all entitled to at least ask. And if they can compete with the other sector of the economy where they can offer flexible hours, offer more benefit, yada yada yada, then you deserve to not be able to hire anyone. So if you want to compete in industrial people, step up your game, pay them more, have them give them more hours, give them more leave day, give them more benefit. Don't go on to a paper and complain about how you can attract people. Try, see. So it's how fast I threw out all the things that I've learned from my past mentor out the window the moment I actually entered the workforce. You will learn very quickly that they do not care about you as close as they're asking you to care about them. So I bring up this article just to bring about the fact that I'm happy with this shift in the work culture. I'm happy that Gen Z are waking up to the scam the employers are putting you through, the rat race. And I'm glad they are standing up for themselves and they're asking for more from their employers. That's what I want to bring up. I do not have sympathy over an industry having trouble hiring. And I mean, obviously, I want, factories to running, jobs are being created, clothes are being made, so you have a sweater to wear in the winter. But if you don't offer enough and people turning you down, it's on you. You don't get to trust people for not wanting an unattractive opportunity. So that's my take on the shift in culture for Gen Z towards jobs attitude. What do you think?
Absolutely. We have a saying. There's a saying that goes, hard time creates hard condition.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Create hard but polished generation. That polished generation creates good times. Good time creates
Babies.
soft babies or whiners.
And then babies create hard beats.
Right. So the last generation of Vietnamese, they had to work very hard, long hours, weekends, uh,
Our parents' generation, essentially, yeah.
erratic time schedule, right? They had hardly any day off, if any, right? Unless it's like an emergency, like a funeral or wedding, which is actually different because, but that's a side issue. Vietnamese, they cherish, funeral anniversaries and weddings and that sort. So, but
Yeah.
but I digress. So this is the generation that kind of reaps the benefit. Vietnam is like top one, top two in terms of GDP growth per year in Asia. Um,
Really?
it's a percentage, not nominal GDP growth.
Yeah, of course. But even in percentage, I had no idea. Damn. I thought it was like still like China, something like that.
No, like I think Vietnam's GDP growth per year is around close to 10%. Nominally, of course, like other places like India is growing more just because of the population, the size, and the scale of the country. But I digress. I think
That's insane.
going back to your point about what a employer and employee relationship, enterprise staffer relationship should be. I always give this advice to young kids. When I say kids, I mean like fresh graduates. Is that you must have a growth mindset and personal development mindset. So um, there's another saying that goes where your personal development doesn't trail or delay too far behind your salary and your pay development, which means that if you develop and learn new skills, it will inevitably push your salary up. And so my advice to these Gen Z and future Zoomers is, yeah, take the employer-employee relationship as a transactional, but use it as a time to grow. Use it as a time to learn the industry in and out. Get to the point where if you have the capital and the time, you can be independent and open your own business in the same industry, right? Instead of just doing your 8 to 5. I think Vietnam's 8 to 5. We're 9 to 5 in America, but instead of just checking in, checking out, and that's it, that would be like a waste of time. And if you have that mindset, then you are wasting your time, and they are just using you, and they're using you like a dirty tissue, and they'll throw you out, and they'll find a new one. But if you use your time very wisely and soak in all the skill, the relationship, all the contacts, um, you'll do much better. And so I think that's what people don't understand. I didn't have that understanding. I thought it would be like kind of an incubator where if I stay in this company, I could work there for decades and even retire in one company. But that doesn't work anymore, right? But at the same
It
time,
used,
go ahead.
to be fair, it used to work, but I understand why it's no longer a situation. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and so that's why I think like young kids, I know like they're offering you high salary, I think relatively to office work. When you're working in industries, when you're working in factory and production, that's usually what the blue collar work that I was mentioning. Like those jobs require like motor skills, right, with your hands, and not just typing skills with your finger on a nice cozy desk in the AC conditioned office. And so, right, so that's I know this is prevalent in America too. Since America is way ahead of Vietnam, you know, a lot of employers are not too satisfied with the current workforce because we have a term that's kind of like called snowflakes. You're very sensitive, and you think you want everything done for you, but you're not willing to put in the hard work. And so it's a balance, right? You gotta look out for yourself as the young fresher, um, and develop. But at the same time, like I find that me personally, when I got into industry as a young 20-year-old, there was a lot of stuff I had to do that, looking back, were patently unfair and not in the contract. And no way did they have the right to tell me to do something. For example, I had to clean the bathroom at my first school, clean toilets, urinals. I was like a part-time janitor, but that was nowhere in the contract. However, uh, because I just bit my tongue and did it, you know, naturally, I don't know if this is spiritual, but naturally, kind of like life rewards you for going through the hard stuff. And regardless of whether the employer rewards you for it, I truly believe it hardens you and it makes you ready. And it gives you a little bit of perspective of how your parents went through. So if you were to just grit it out just a little bit, you'll be toughened, at least psychologically, to do any work later on that requires high stress, high pressure, that maybe will upgrade you to the next level, managerial, and even to a C-suite level, right? And so to have that hard skin, right, to develop that hard skin when you're young, I think it's actually an advantage, and you'll be ahead of the crowd if you really want later on to have all those benefits of paid leave, work from home, business vacation, business VIP car, chauffeur, all these types of benefits that you get from a corporate job. I think what what makes you different from the crowd is that you have that tough mindset, and that you're willing to do the small things that when it comes later on to the bigger things that are much harder, you're ready and willing to go.
Ah, that's exactly what I told you when we were talking in the park the other day, that I prefer people who have a humble beginning and they work their way to the top. rather than somebody who just started out with a silver spoon in the mouth. That's exactly what I was trying to tell you. I guess I'm glad we agree on that. And I also agree that there has to be like a soft spot, like a perfect balance point between being a snowflake and somebody who believe that you have to work 16 hours a day to be considered virtuous in the workplace. There has to be a middle point. I agree with that. And I also agree that if you give your all, it's gonna harden you in a way that will make you be more ready for the future of the prospect that you're pursuing, whatever it might be. However, that is not why your employer is asking that of you. All right, your employer doesn't care about whether you develop into something or not. They just want the most bang for their buck. So maybe you're doing the right thing by cleaning the toilet, whatever. But let's not pretend that's why the employer want you to do so. And at the end of the day, you do whatever you must to harden yourself, to improve your skill, to learn how much you can learn from your current job or whatever you do. But do not forget the fact that between you and your employer is no more than transactional. That's it. I don't care if she invited you to your house to her house for dinner for one time, or they pay for pizza in a 3 p.m. party that one time. Doesn't matter. If they let you go, the moment you're gone, you will never hear from them again. Okay, which never didn't happen to me yet, but it happened to a bunch of people around me. I saw that time and time again. People do not care about you. They will ask you to move heaven and earth. They'll ask you to answer a call at 8 p.m. when you're out with your family. But the moment they need to let you go, you have 2 days. Work ends around works end around 5, and then they call you at 8 and expect you to pick up without overtime payment. Oh, thank you for doing this. We're such a family. You get like a standing ovation on Monday. That's about it.
So
Okay.
basically, the boss will call you outside of work.
Yes, a lot. And so yeah, and you will. So right now, if you Google up like good advice for people who are in Vietnamese, for people who just like come on the job market, what do? You hear a bunch of like big tech CEO in Vietnam, like the FPT CEO, go out and say, "Oh, if you work less than 10 hours a day in your first job, you're gonna fail." They say something like that. I mean, which is kind of convenient because that's the exact kind of employee that people want from uh, employees who will benefit if people reading that interview following the advice, the employer. So how convenient. So don't buy into that. Don't let people benefit from your labor telling you what to do. They're going to try to benefit themselves first. And to that end, I think we're going to wrap it up there. So for Zoomer out there, if you're listening, do not fall for the trap of being loyal to your company. It's all about the paycheck. If you don't get it, leave. And that's where I'm going to leave it off.
Absolutely. So we'll go on to our last topic of the day. Okay, so speaking of not being pressured by your overlords, this last thing on the docket kind of entangles personal relationship with the work culture. So we have here a a complaint by a wife to her husband that this guy who's a programmer, I'm guessing might be doing source code development, has 10 years of experience and earns about 1.6 thousand a month. The wife's basically complaining that why doesn't he just up his skill level, especially in the realm of learning a new language, which I think is very much needed nowadays with a lot of FDI companies investing in Vietnam. And so I'll share you a quick thing from my experience. So this guy I have a friend who has a software company, a stack deck developer engineering. And he says that 40 million Vietnam dong or 1.6 thousand salary per month is actually high for someone of this caliber of work. And he showed me another job.
I
So,
disagree, but you finish first.
right, absolutely. But there was another job posting, and he showed me the receipts, the text messages from a hiring manager, basically doing the same job, and the only different requirement is that they know French, right?
Okay.
And then if they have this one skill, they would net 100 million Vietnam dong, which is gross would be 142. If I did my math correctly. So basically, a more than 3 times higher salary if you just like to skill
If
up.
you speak French.
Yeah, if you speak French, basically, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure English is the same. I don't know if it's that high of a multiple,
English is not the same.
right? That's probably lower, right? Because French is maybe more niche and
French is more niche. Yeah.
yeah.
You're getting paid that much more because the market doesn't provide enough French speaker. Yeah.
Right. Right. So this kind of relates to the last topic. But since Huey, that's how that's every time I see your name, I think of Huey Duck. Anyway, um, you're in this space a lot. And you have a lot of experience, so you have a wealth of knowledge. And share with us what you think of this and your experience and etc.
Okay, first, when I first opened up the article, I'm gonna be real. When I read, dissatisfied. I thought it was gonna go somewhere else, and then I read down the line. Oh, okay, it was about the salary. I thought it was like a bedroom article. That'd be rare. And so there are two aspects of this article. Actually, like you said, that I want to touch on, which is the human relationship aspect and the workplace aspect. And I told you before that I disagree because I feel like working as a coder, working in IT in general, and with 10-year experience, and you're getting home 1.6K is definitely on the lower end. And regardless of what his wife may or may not say, I don't know what the context was, but personally, I think he can do better, 100%. And so at my last job, most of my colleague was around from anywhere between 4 and 6 years of experience, and 100% of them earn way more than this guy earns 10 years from now. By the way, we do share our salary. We are close enough.
Mm.
And it's not just like a one-off. It's like in my previous job for it's a remote position for a Danish company, which they don't even offer an office. But every single one of my colleagues that I know, by the way, we jump job together, so it's the same group, by the way, and we still earn more than this guy after 10 years, even at my previous job, which did not earn as much as the current job, the last one that I left. So I think he is currently can do better. Not to say that it's bad, but he can do better for sure. So but that's all I'm going to say about the work situation. And reading through the wife complaint and the sentiment, I can't help but being sympathized with the wife, honestly, which is not to say that she's right or anything like that. Again, I don't know the context, but that's what I'm gonna touch on for the most part, human relationship. If you scroll down to the comment, you see that I guarantee most people are commenting are mostly guys, and they are siding with the husband, saying that the wife is being greedy, the wife is being unreasonable, and are asking a lot of her husband, even though she doesn't even mention anything about her qualification or how much she's earning, if she's earning anything at all. Does she have an income? Again, I do not know the context. I don't know what she does, Maybe she's also working. Maybe she's having a paycheck. Maybe even more than he does. Maybe she's not working. She stay at home. But the context is kind of irrelevant to my point. My point is he can do better with his current situation. And the wife specifically mentioned that all she does is she encouraged him to learn like a foreign language or improve his skill,
right,
to keep up with the younger generation of the workforce in IT, which is all true.
right.
The younger workforce in IT are insanely knowledgeable and talented. They are very fast.
Proficient.
Something that, yeah, like let's say 10 years ago, 2012, 2013, when people are studying IT, what would take them like a year to figure out would take a Zoomer like 2 months. Because information are a lot more prevalent and available today than it was a decade ago. And the younger generation, they grew up with computer, so they learn a lot faster than my generation were learning. Like my first computer was like when I was 12, right? 13. And their first computer is when they were probably 6. So they have a huge edge.
Grappling onto an iPad.
Yes. So they have a massive edge in terms of technology. They learn languages, both programming languages and like foreign languages, much faster than you are. So the least the hobbits can do is to learn a foreign language. So the least it can do, little least.
Right.
On that should look.
Even in Roblox now, you can design your own games.
Yeah.
Exactly, right?
Yeah. Even you can ask an AI to do most things that an average programmer can do now. So you really, really have to start to keep up with the younger generation of developers and to develop it themselves. And regardless of anything else going on with your wife, doing that is good for you, period. So I don't see why that advice is considered bad advice. People pointing out that maybe the wife is not earning anything, bringing anything to the table. Even if that's true, her advice is still solid. So if you're in IT, you really need to learn a new language, programming language, foreign language, French, Japanese, English, whatever. Let's start with English. That would be the solid start. Because I'm telling
in English, so you're minus.
Yeah, definitely.
I like coding language, but you're going away.
And but like no matter what the context was, 10 years in IT earning 1.6K to me is kind of low, and he can do better than that. And I'm giving the wife the benefit of the doubt that she just want her husband to do better for the family, which is not unfair. She's part of the family now. It's not unfair for a wife to ask her husband to be better, provided for her family. Again, I see people throwing the G word around, like was kind of like the gold digger, the G word, like bro, he's not like a real estate tycoon or anything like that. Real chill, but a wife is asking a husband to improve his skill. It's very reasonable to me. It's something that our friends could have said as well. So chill with the gold digger accusation. Again, I don't know the context.
Just to add on this, a little side note, but yeah, like if a wife or a spouse or a partner is motivational, I consider that not criticism.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. So if she says something like, "Oh, if you don't improve your skill, you don't earn like a more of a paycheck, I'm gonna leave you," that would be toxic. Yeah, I agree with that. But she didn't say anything like that. Right. All she said was, "I wish you would do better." I would say that too, and I'm not even his wife. So I think the wife is not necessarily in the wrong here. Again, I don't know the context, but that's all. But based on what I read, I think it's fair. And my man, whoever you are, you can do better. And I think what bugs me the most is that the wife said that, assuming it's true, that he merely responds non-committally and eventually abandons the idea. To me, that is not good. Right. So he is not very motivated at the moment. That's not good. I hope that changes soon. I don't know whether they have a kid or not, but if they have a kid or two or even more, you really need to step up with the current economy and the current state of competition in the IT industry with the younger generation. He really needs to step up. That's all I'm gonna leave it at with this piece of information. And by the way, if you check the comment, I grant you they're all male, and 100% of them, 100% of them are assuming the wife to be like a horrible woman, like with a gold digger attitude. I think it's not fair. But I'm not necessarily saying these commenters are bad or anything like that. I see where they're coming from. I see that upon the first read, the article can come up as, painting the wife as like a complainer and a gold digger, or not contributing anything, or asking a lot of the husband. You see this guy. So
Right.
yeah. All
What
right. First,
what is exactly this young lady doing to improve the financial position apart from
yeah. I mean, to be fair,
her poor husband? It sounds like maybe the husband here has a burner account.
yeah. And to me, I don't know. I see where these people commenting are coming from. I can see where they see it that way.
Find
But
a new wife. Wow.
yeah, that's a lot. I do. Relax. Chill the hell out.
Yeah, but yeah, those three top were like in favor of the husband. This person was in favor of the wife.
Yeah, that's one nice comment. See?
Yeah,
Yeah. That's the right attitude to have. Like
absolutely.
yeah, why not? Yeah, it's good advice, whether or not it's from your wife or your friend. This is a good idea. So don't write it off immediately because it comes from a wife who may not have a paycheck. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I feel like yeah, the comment is being a little bit like too presumptuous today. It's not like they were ever good or anything like that, but and all right, so all right, off topic a little bit, but I really want to ask you something. Maybe you have more of an answer for me because you spent a significant amount of time in other country like the US and the South Korea. In every single Vietnamese newspaper, online newspaper that I know of, when you click on the live section, right?
Lifestyle. Yeah.
I I don't know if any international newspaper have a live section, but in newspaper they all have a live section. And when you click on the live section, most most people who are not from Vietnam, they would expect or presume the live section on a newspaper to have something about like maybe a recipe, maybe where to travel for summer, maybe tips on how to stay safe at night when there are mosquito outside, things
Right.
like that, right? No, live section on Vietnamese newspaper are almost always about random
Drama.
reader drama reader sending in their personal drama and asking you for advice. Like when you click on live right now, you can see a lot of things like maybe all right. You can see under the article that we were just talking about the husband and the wife complaining about the salary. You see the recommended one. My son owns a house and he wanted to sell to pay his debt. My sister secretly sold the land plot we jointly purchased. Uh, should I take care of my uncle to inherit $800,000? It's all drama. Like what the fuck? People bring their family drama on the news, and they put it on the live section. And I dated a person from Sweden recently,
Right.
and they click on the live section on the Vietnamese newspaper and and asked me the same question. Why new Vietnamese people are bringing the family drama on the news so frequently? That's all I read all day. And, and yeah, and then I don't read the news that much. And then I click on one and oh my
Yeah.
God, it's all
Very
about my
interesting.
uncle, my wife, my nephew, my parents-in-law, or this and that. It's so dramatic. And they bring it on the public. Of course, they hide their name, but like, you know. And is that a thing in the US or in the South Korea? So that's what I wanted to ask you. What do you think?
So yeah, so when I read this article a few weeks ago, and to answer your question, like when I was searching for it, I couldn't find it on the front page because it's probably old news. So I go to the search query and I search husband, and when I got the search result, it was this long string of blue links. And I had to go through 50 links before I even got to this article again. So the word husband, just in the title, we're not even talking about the body of the article. The word husband comes up in like so many lifestyle articles. This is in like the main title. And
Um,
so it's funny how, like personal drama goes, so somehow makes it on to the number one, at least platform, new like online newspaper. VN Express. But I find it actually to be actually very valuable because when you have these personal experiences, if we can take it for the word that it is really happening, then it gives you into the insight of the normal man and woman and what they're going through. So I actually find it refreshing. Um, Whereas, like, if you look at the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, this doesn't come up too much. It's usually just the opinion of one person, and they're usually talking about other people, other uh, influencers, other political figures, other people in the news, not talking about their personal life. So I find the way Vietnam does this is actually pretty refreshing and informative.
Refreshing.
Yeah, because like you asked if, like in Korea or America, is this like a normal thing? And it's I'll tell you, at least when I was there, um, it's not, just from my experience. And so to have these personal accounts, if it's actually authentic, I think brings a lot of value to society because you can connect that to how you have a good relationship with your spouse, how you have your relationship with your motivation for growth, uh, upgrading your skills, and so forth. But yeah, so to answer your question, it is not that common. But just to go back to what you said about the young generation, um, I never had that really crystallized when we were talking about software engineers. So could it be the case that since this guy has 10 years of experience, um, he's in the older generation, probably in our generation, closer to millennial, and is that because of that factor where he is slower than the new kids, and that he has low motivation, would would that maybe be the reason why his salary is lower relative to someone that should be uh, getting paid with his salary and his experience?
If he has 10 years of experience, I would extrapolate that he was born around between 85 and 88, around that time.
Mm.
And that might be a factor. Yes, I agree. At his generation might have his first computer when he was already like it's his late high school year when it'll become like an obvious thing. That might be a factor. Yes, I agree. But it won't explain everything. So for example, in most of my job, the technical leader or the team manager would be around the same age, born between 85 and 88, like around that time. And they all knew to learn more than they were, uh, to learn more of a skill in order to move up in the corporate ladder. So I see where what you're saying, but I don't think that is an excuse. So even with the factor that maybe they learn a little bit slower and they have access to computer and technology like later than at least the early 90s generation, it still doesn't warrant the fact that he is clocking at 1,600 per month. Again, it's still not bad for the current economy with the current for the cost of living here. It's not bad at all. But
And he's
he
in
could do
Hanoi
better.
too, so the cost of living is a little lower, correct?
Oh, okay. I know it's a little bit cheaper than Sun Saigon, but it's not that much cheaper. It's still a little bit cheaper. But I think he could do better for. I mean, going through. I'm sorry, I had some trash.
Yeah.
Going through school is take a lot of time, and like engineering school it's a lot of time of your youth. So you gotta get a good buck, get a good bang for your buck. You get a lot more out of that than that. I
So,
wish my man the best. I could do better.
speaking of bang for your bucks,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, he could just be like Ben Affleck in the movie, just getting banged, getting robbing a bank, and
Mhm.
making sure his wife is fully supported.
See, we all gonna make money somehow.
But highly recommended this movie. This is from the movie. It's called The Town.
What's the name again? Let me check it out real quick. The Town movie. Oh, it's a very old movie, 2010.
Yep.
I was 18 when it came out. Oh my. Oh yeah, I think I know that movie. I haven't seen it, but I know the movie. The scene where people with the nun mask coming out and shooting. Yeah, I saw that scene on YouTube from a meme somewhere, but I didn't see the movie itself.
Ooh.
Affleck. He looks kind of. I don't think the screenshot behind your back is from the movie. He looks a little bit older for being in 2010. He looks like is a
Uh,
current.
no, this is from the movie. Just I don't want to spoil it, but
Oh, I guess it was
there's
an
a
old.
redemption arc.
Ah, okay. I mean, when
So,
you say there's you don't want to spoil it, it is just a spoiler. I can kind of extrapolate that. They're gonna be like an older scene. So I guess the makeup team did a really good job. They make up to make him look like how he would look like 15 years from where he was, and he looks exactly like he looks now. So it's spot on.
if I edit
You
this,
gotta need a name fast.
we gotta get it real quick.
You gotta need a name.
All right, then. I'll catch you later. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.